Hey ratbags, today I'm going to be showing you everything you need to know about farming in Palworld. Every single unique creature that you can set with farming that will drop some unique resources. How do you get honey? How do you get candy floss? Setting up a farm will make making cakes a cinch so that you can start breeding as many pals as you want. So if you like, if you find it useful, and let's go. So right now there's a whole bunch of creatures that you can place in one of these and they'll start producing resources. Some of the obvious ones that you've already known or got or should have are things like lamb ball and chickies. These are your basic farming creatures, and from these two you're going to get wool and eggs. You obviously then go ahead and place them inside one of the farms and they should start producing. Now it's actually a ranch, 50 wood, 20 stone, 30 fibre, and you surely would have seen it in starting days at level 5. So obviously they can drop mutton, and they can also drop the chickpea poultry if you go ahead and kill them or butcher them. Now obviously they do have other work jobs that they can do. The main focus of this guide today is about farming and what you can get from them. So pretty simple stuff. Let's move on to the more advanced creatures. Vixies, these guys can do a specific farming job for you. They only drop leather and bone, but if you have got a ranch nearby, they can actually go and dig out items for you. They can sometimes leave drops of spheres, gold and arrows, and particularly early game you want to be saving up some of your resources, so you don't really want to be making spheres all the time. Just make sure you assign them to the actual ranch, don't let them just wander off. Lamb balls and chickens you find pretty much everywhere, I don't need to show you on the map that. And Vixies are relatively close to the first spawn point, unless you have chosen somewhere different, then you may have to get your side all the way down to the southeast. You can see it's a great big band there, pretty much all the windswept hills, pretty close to where you find the first settlement. After that we've got Cremis. These, just like the lamb balls, will drop lots of wool. You can see you've got a score of gathering there as well. Now they're not much of a support class unless you've got a bunch of neutral pals. You can see there as well, and just FYI, the Cremis is pretty good for supporting you if you've got a high level neutral pal, as they'll increase the attack power. If you're looking to get big amounts of gold, then you want some of the male, the cats. Both the regular kind and the frozen or Christ versions can both dig up gold when you assign them to a ranch. Now it says habitat unknown, that's because you normally find them in dungeons, usually quite low level ones. If you go to the very first plateau of beginnings and a dungeon on the beach, that's not a bad location to find some. The Christ version obviously you'll find in the north in the cold, so you're going to have to head directly north. You also do get a chance of getting either gold coins from killing the normal male, or ice organs and sapphires from getting the frozen version. Now one I couldn't find for ages was the mozzarella. These are the guys that give you milk. I'd explored pretty much everywhere but the main point where you can pick them up. And this is a vital resource if you're making lots of cake. You need the cake to make the pals mate. I was buying lots of milk from the trader, but obviously it was eating into my savings. So with these assigned, they should start dropping a good chunk of actual milk. So this is where they are on the map, a little bit further over to the west, hence why I never actually found them for ages. So I was pretty much exploring all over to the east and north, and then I somehow missed them when I was going down south. Now there's a good food source that you can get, which is cotton candy. It doesn't necessarily give that much food, but it does give 5 san, so it'll increase the happiness of any creature that's eating it, which is much better than some of the other cooked meals. Although not the best, more involved meals like salads, they give 11 san, but still worth knowing, and these guys are pretty close to where you find the mozzarellas. Their names are woolly pops. Something else they drop as well is power oil. That's the kind of shame they don't drop the power oil at the ranch, instead you will just get them dropping cotton candy. You can see again, it's pretty much in the same area all the way over to the west. They're quite large creatures compared to some of the others, so it shouldn't be too hard to spot them. And then we've got the alpacas, which, as you might guess, drop wool. Now these are a bit more unique as they are viable as an actual tame, especially if you pick up the saddle for one. They're not too slow, but certainly not as fast as a direwolf, and they are still relatively a low or easy creature, but they are neutral. Next up we've got the capriti. These guys will produce berries. If you don't really want to mess around with farming, as it's an involved process and you need quite a few other pals to pretty much make it work, these can be a much better alternative. They'll produce berries cheap and easy way to feed most of your pals. Like I said at the beginning, a lot of the creatures do have work suit abilities that they can do other things, but the Caprites also do have the added bonus of having level 2 planting. If you are going to be growing some crops as well, maybe swapping out some berries for some wheat farms, and can help look after that as well. Their Caprite meat is also pretty good as well. Now, one you've probably all been waiting for is how to get honey. These are definitely a lot more tougher. You need to find bee guards. They'll always be in groups protecting the Elizabeth, and they're pretty formidable. Sign these to a ranch and they will start producing honey. Kill them and they'll also drop honey just like the Elizabeth, but the Elizabeth will not produce honey at a ranch. It's only these guys. And they can be found slightly more to the northeast. The closest spawn point should be over here, so from this direction you'll have to go just a little bit more northwest. There's lots of various different bandits out here. It's a pretty dangerous spot. It's quite cliffy as well, so you have to go up quite winding paths usually to find some. You can also get honey from cinnamoths if you kill them, but they will not drop anything if you've got them at your farm. And just a little FYI, they also drop lettuce seeds and wheat seeds too. This is the first time I've managed to pick up lettuce, so if you're looking for that for your complete farming experience, they're the ones that you want to find. And that's the most beneficial use, right? Being able to find enough of these red berries from growing it or from the ranch, and obviously flour from some wheat farms. Out of all of them, I would say the male cats don't necessarily drop enough gold unless you really are going to have like maybe 5 or 6. The chances are you're probably going to be wanting more stuff to be grown. The best use is absolutely trying to get lots of the bee guards to get honey, and these guys so you can get milk. The rest of the items are relatively easier to get hold of. You can always go ahead and buy some more as well. There's 2 more though that I'm going to talk about, and these are much more advanced. These little cute flambells will produce flame organs. Trouble is, they're in pretty dangerous spots. All in the lava zone all the way over to the west. It's extremely hostile over here. You probably will need protection and a heat resistant suit, although there is a patch all the way over to the top of the north point as well. I've only managed to get one of these so far. Flambells do have a bunch of other uses. They can work on the furnaces, they're good at handcrafting and obviously transporting, and they can be used as a viable companion too. Flame organs are obviously much used in later advanced crafting, so it's definitely worth getting one of these. But last not least is Siblex. These can be found all the way in the north in the cold biome. So very hard to get, but it is absolutely one of the best actual ranch tames you can have. Why? Because they drop high quality cloth. They're also really good for medicine production level 2 and cooling level 2. As you might expect, these and the flambells are hard to capture, so you are going to need much more advanced spheres. The more advanced cloth is used in so much of the later game armours. You definitely need a lot of it, and it costs quite a fair amount of wool. So there you go, hopefully that's been helpful. Clearly I've got a lot here. With that mixture of ranch creatures, I'm literally picking up everything I need to make as many of the cakes as I possibly could have. So there you go, that's ranching. That's what all of the pals give you if you put them inside some of these. Hopefully that's been helpful. Go and check out the rest of my Palworld guides, and I'll be back taking a look at everything else you need to know about special tames that can get you from A to B, abilities, and the ones that all carry guns. That's coming soon. Until then, laters.